Welcome everyone. Now, as usual, Jen and I are here with you on the PowerUp today. My name is Tom. I'm going to be moderating and monitoring this chat box that you've been using so far. So as Jen is going through the training today and showing you what she's been recommending to a lot of her clients, I'm going to be taking questions in the chat box. So if you ever have any questions, just feel free to pop them into the chat box and we have a good stopping point. I'll make sure that we present them to Jen and we'll get them addressed. So on the agenda for today, we are going to be talking about how you can limit your summer reservations and registrations using memberships. So what we're going to be first going through today is setting up a membership, which will be followed by setting up a swim program or camp. And we're going to show you how you can limit that with those memberships now. And then we're going to go into a facility reservation, and we're going to show you how you can limit your tennis and pickleball reservations shortly after that. And we'll also show you how Jen has this creative way that you can start taking camp deposits for those summer programs. And with the leftover time at the end, we'll also demo a facility check-in for either your programs or your memberships. So with that, Jen, did you have anything you'd like to add, or are you ready to take the screen?
I am ready to take the screen. Thank you so much.
All right.
All right, everyone. Sorry about that as I just take over the screen here. So first, we're going to go over how to build your memberships. It's been a while since we've done this. So in the memberships tab, you're going to click on add new membership type. And there's a couple of ways we could build things. So a lot of you are getting ready to do your summer camp registrations, your pools are opening, your tennis courts, pickleball courts. A lot of those have definitive start and end dates for their memberships because your courts are only open a certain number of months or your pool is only open a certain number of months. All of those are going to be set up right here. So if we were to create this as a pool pass membership, you just type the name in there. We can choose the type from our drop down here. Remember everyone, membership types are program types. You create those on the admin tab, manage custom lists, manage program types. Memberships will pull from the same location. Custom program codes. Those are going to be something that's more of a display. Some people will put years here. Sometimes it's used because you have a very long name for your membership. So you want to make sure that you have enough space. That's when using the custom membership code is important. If you set up your membership with a definitive start and end date, make sure you choose the begin date and set the end date that the membership will end. So something like a pool pass, I often see that on the Labor Day Monday. Now for a start date, here's something to keep in mind. If this membership is something that they need to be an active member of to sign up for pool time slots or summer camp weeks, if this is for your summer camp registration fee, for those of you who do $75 to sign up for any weeks of camp, and then it's $150 per week of camp. This is the same concept. Make sure that begin date will begin when they need to start registering. Otherwise, they will not be able to register because technically their membership hasn't begun yet. For those who are using us for fitness memberships, you can always keep using this open and ongoing option to just have those year-round, constantly cycling memberships. You can set the duration of the membership as well right here. You can set it up to automatically send them an email up to 30 days in advance, saying that their membership is about to expire. This is great for like your annual passes that don't have auto renew to them. So people can get a message and say, hey, your membership for the pool is expired in 7 days. They can contact you to get a new one, or they can just go online and sign up. We know online enrollment means that you're allowing people to register online, and the show on portal is just allowing the customers to sign up on see the information. Enrollment begin date. This is your registration period, so the time they can sign up for this membership. So if it's something like a pool membership and you only allow registration to start now and they can only register until the end of July, you don't want people signing up for just 1 month in August, you can set those dates here. Make sure if you have a description for your membership to post that information here. And anything you need in the notes section that they need to have for the future, please include that information here and check off the box to include notes on receipt. Select what general ledger code you would like that membership to allocate to. And if there's sales tax you would like to pass on, please select that from the drop-down. Under demographics, there are certain features here that you should be aware of because they will actually restrict things from occurring. If you have to have a gender restricted membership, this will restrict based on what gender their profile states. Enrollment maximum will not allow membership enrollments above that maximum. Now, keep in mind, enrollment maximums also include families. So if you have a family membership, it's not going to be 50 households, it's going to be 50 people, individual people. So if somebody goes to register a 5-person household, but there's only 4 spots left, it's not going to allow them to enroll. They're only going to be allowed to enroll 4 members. Age minimum and maximum is going to go based off their date of birth, and it's going to go off of today's date. So if they're not old enough to sign up today, but they will be in 2 weeks, they have to wait 2 weeks. Enrollment maximum works the same way. So this is great for like your senior memberships, or like if you have a junior one where it's people under 18, you can have an age maximum of 18, an age minimum of 65, or whatever you consider seniors to be. Then you just select your fee type from the dropdown. Now, I like to use a punch pass as my first example because punch passes are something you could do within a membership. And you can say with the fee name, remember fee names are on the admin tab, manage custom lists, manage fee types. You can add the number of punches here. This is what the system needs to know in order to know how many punches are allowed. Don't forget your unit price and checking off the show fee on portal. Now the includes up to. This is an important thing to pay attention to. Whether you're setting this up as a family membership or individual or a punch pass, you can have a punch pass membership that would allow 4 people in the same household to sign up for 20 punches. Now that's not going to give each person 20 punches. What it's going to do is it's going to allow the 4 people to share those 20 punches. Keep in mind with Punch Pass memberships, the day that they hit 0 punches remaining, overnight the system is going to update their membership to expire because they no longer have any punches. But you can set this up however you'd like. So if you have a family membership where you have a different rate, you can choose different fee names. So you can have a family rate for family of 4 and a family of 5. And you can say that a family of 4 is going to be $100. Oops, hang on, I put a bad key in there. But a family of 5 is only going to be $110. This is all you need to do to build that type of structure out. And this is going to make it easier on your community members when they go to sign up for them to know which size to choose from for the rate. If you have this set, what it'll do is it's not going to let somebody try to get the rate for the family of 4 and include all 5 household members. It'll prevent that from occurring. And as you're aware, across the system, we have that residency restriction. Then you just click on Save when you finish building your membership, and then you can go to the Forms tab. This is where you can add any additional forms that you may need for your summer camp registrations. If this is something that you require that they pay a summer camp registration fee to sign up for any of your weeks, this is a great spot to put those summer camp forms and mark them as being shared documents. For something like your pool or your tennis courts, it could be a code of conduct. It could be what your COVID restrictions are for right now, um, policies you may have, anything like that, you can have them sign off. You would just click on edit after you build your flex form and then choose that. Select if it's a new form each time or if it's a shared document. Now remember, shared documents are shared everywhere in the system. And for memberships, we have a different option of whether it's required for all members or just primary. So think of your family memberships. When somebody signs up for your pool passes, if you have 2 rates, family and individual, do you want all the family members to sign that form? Or do you just need the primary person in the household who's signing up to essentially sign the waivers for everybody else? That's the choice right here. And we also have the allow partial and internal only option. But once you have your forms set up the way that you'd like them to appear, you just scroll down and click on Save. And that's it for setting up your memberships. And remember, you can copy them from year to year by clicking on one of your memberships. You can go into the list and looking at past and just clicking edit and creating a new one exactly like this. It'll change the ID to the word new, and then just make sure you update anything that has new dates to it. Do we have any questions so far?
Not that I can see, Jen.
Okay. All right, then let's go and we're going to move on how you can use those memberships to restrict things. Now, some of you are having to restrict your pools, your gyms, your tennis courts, your pickleball courts. All those places are being restricted by the number of people and the time period they can spend there. Some of you are at 100% and this isn't a big deal, so this may be completely unnecessary and you just need the membership piece. That's okay. But for those of you who have that situation right now, where you need to set up your programs to allow people to sign up for recreational swim from noon to 1:45. Oh, let's go to the one that's on the current year on a specific date. And this would allow 35 people to sign up for that time period with for recreational swim. You want to build your programs to allow the date and time to show. And I'll show you a great site that uses dates and times in what I call a wonderful way. It allows for very easy use for the community members. But if you're requiring them to sign up for the membership ahead of time, so your pool time slots, even if they're free, but you just need them to have that membership, when you build your program, you just want to hit show advanced options under your program and select the membership that you created. That's going to restrict it by that membership. They'll have to be active members to sign up for swim on that day and that time. Now for like your pickleball and your tennis courts, you're going to be able to take advantage of the online reservations. And we added a few cool new features. When I click edit on the facilities, I can set up a default teardown time. Now, this default teardown time, I've mostly seen ice rinks be super happy to have the Zamboni time automatically fill in. But if you need to put 30 minutes between court rentals so that courts have time to be cleaned between matches or between people who are reserving the courts, you can use this to factor in as well. It'll automatically add 30 minutes into the reservation. Now, on your online reservations tab, on the schedules themselves, as you build them, you can click on Show Advanced Options. This will let you restrict by that membership and check off a box to apply that default setup and teardown time. That'll make it so that that 30 minutes will automatically be included for the rentals for that tennis court or whatever court it may be, and it'll require they have a membership. Now, in the past, many of you have used passcodes so that whatever online availability schedule you had listed for people who did have memberships for the tennis courts or pickleball courts that they could do $0 reservations. This is essentially that level. This restricts it by that membership. You don't have to worry about who has the passcode. So once you set up the first one for those who receive the discounted rates, you can select a second one and create a second online availability schedule for the rest of the public so that they can go online and they can set it up as they can pay for their tennis court rentals versus the tennis membership. The people who are members would not have to pay. And we can even restrict the number of reservations somebody does per day, per week, or per month, as well as have a required lead time. Now I'm going to show you the site example that I feel lists their program names in a great way. So for those of you who have limits like they do, they can only have 17 people in the pool any given day and any different given time slot. You'll see that they add the date to the first part of the program name. And anything that's an AM, make sure the first time period has a 0 to it. That will ensure that all of your AM classes come before your PM classes. Because what happens when your PM classes start to pop up is that 6 o'clock could technically come before 9 if you didn't have the 0, because we alphabetize on the community site. Do we have any questions for that?
Not at the moment.
Okay. Now, as a reminder, for those of you who use memberships to take that, Tom calls a deposit, I call it a registration fee for summer camps, some places that have those. If you're utilizing that feature, please keep in mind that on the summer camp itself, you have different levels of deposits on top of requiring they did that particular membership for the initial, I want to participate in summer camp. You can also, on the program level, change it from pay in full to the minimum deposit required for that week of camp when they check out online. So when we say deposits, I just want to be clear that you can collect them 2 different ways. And Tom, you brought up a great example in our first one.
Yes.
Where unless we have any questions, perhaps I should show that piece to them now as a recommendation.
Yes, this is the one that you're referring to. So let's say you have a spring registration starting in about 3 weeks or 2 weeks, and you ask for a lot of forms that your participants need to fill out before spring program starts. So instead of having all the parents start to fill out the forms the day of the event, you want to get them in and they can start to pre-register and fill out those forms before camp registration starts. And then that way, the day of, they don't have to worry about filling out all the forms for all the kids. They've already filled them out.
Yes, exactly. And I'm sure a lot of you have heard that, especially if you are very heavy duty with the forms that you offer. So, one thing that I always recommend is this particular example has these two forms. If you've already created your camps and this is something you're now thinking of, an easy thing to do is to just go into 1 week of your camp and click on Edit and Create New. You can call this one Forms Only. And this is something that you can have them start registering for now. And you can end registration when regular camp begins, or you can leave it open if you'd like, just to make form resolution easier. Please keep in mind, though, it is important to put in the notes that this is not so something like this that lets them know that they're just filling out the forms. This doesn't guarantee them a spot or a slot or anything like that. Put that here on the notes for the forms. If you want to and you have the registration fee, it should probably go in the membership note as well. I don't think it needs to have any restrictions and it doesn't need to have anything else to it. And all it needs to have is a fake single date. That's basically when you want them to stop being able to fill out just the forms for the camp. And this doesn't need to have any fees. So this is something that you can then advertise to your customers early and say, hey, everyone, if you'd like to be able to fill out your camp forms early, you can do so by registering here. Please, and then do the reminder, please be aware it doesn't hold your spot, or however you'd like to phrase that. A lot of groups have found that this has provided, uh, Tom, what would be the right phrase for this? It for how parents have reacted when they've done the forms only. Um, um,
Mm,
I think you said earlier was something that parents are ecstatic when they can do this early because it's less frustrating, and for some parents right now with how quickly summer camps are filling out, it's also going
yeah.
to be less scary when they go to register. These forms are already completed, they just need to select their weeks and make their payments.
Yeah. I know one thing that really makes their day is anytime there's a shared form, essentially the for them when they register their kid, instead of having to fill out the form multiple times for the same kid over and over, anytime we can share a form, it's really going to help make their day. It's just one less form that they're going to have to fill out, and it's going to really make them appreciate the software even more.
Yes, exactly. Um, does anyone have any questions so far, though?
Yeah, I did have one that came through, and it's can you explain in more detail the difference between setting up a program under the program tab versus creating a membership for that particular program? Can't I limit the number or the max that can enroll if I just create it under the program as well?
So the thing is that for some groups, they need to have this like a registration fee for their summer camps. So I'm using that as an example. Some places they require $25, and that's basically office fees. That's how much it costs for the office to do all the paperwork filing for summer camp. So they're passing it on to the parents that way. Because we can't restrict program registration by another program registration, the best solution is to just have that fee paid as a membership. Some of those groups have maximums, which is why I explain the maximums. It really depends on where your maximums come into play. If you have a pool membership that you're setting up and there's no limit because you know that you never ever hit the maximum number of people who can even attend, then you can just leave it. You don't need to set a maximum. It's only there if you need it. But memberships are really better for things that are like consistent, like pool memberships. If they pay $40 to go to the pool for the entire summer, that way they just scan themselves in. Um, that's more the idea, is that this tracks people in a group setting, that happens for a longer period of time, whereas program registrations are more like your summer camps or your sports, your activities, things that are occurring at specific places on dates and times, whereas your memberships are a little bit more open and ongoing. Your tennis members are tennis members, but you have 18 courts. You're not limiting them to a specific court the way that you would for like summer camping in one specific location. So that's really the best way to think about that, is that it's more for how you need to track. Um, but the reason I bring up over on the programs tab using programs for days and times is pure and simply because of COVID restrictions going on right now. I know some places don't have as many as others, but we're just trying to make sure we give the most complicated explanation for those that need complicated. For those of you who it's easy, skip this step. Just make your pool memberships. Don't make it harder. This is only for places that need to do it this way.
Jen, to elaborate on that, one a group that I have that uses this relationship of memberships and programs, they offer a lot of therapeutic programs. And one thing that they want is they don't want people to just be able to go and sign themselves up for one of these therapeutic programs. They want to make sure that it's an exclusive group that has access to these programs. They can limit who gets into what program based on their accessibility needs.
Yeah.
And what they did is they set up various memberships for their therapeutic group. One of them is focused on the visually impaired, and one of them is focused on more like mobility and movement. And they, based on what group you're placed into, you get access then to the programs, because those programs are only restricted to each one of those memberships. And think of it as almost an exclusive club you can use memberships for. If you're part of that membership, you get access to only those programs. And in some cases, you may pay more to be part of that membership to then get access to that exclusive program. Now, granted, they just use it as a filter, but it's just one way to help limit the people that can register, or maybe they can register in advance before the general public. So it's just, there's a lot of variabilities, that go into play when you set those up.
Yeah, like to add two things that Tom brought up, your scholarships, your students or your employees who pay half price because they're employees for the town. You can use your memberships to track those people so that instead of them having to always go through you for registration, the scholarship people can sign up for $0 online. The people who are city employees, you can control that membership so that they receive the 50% off on the items that you guys offer employee discounts for. So that's why that's there, is just to kind of help give you that little extra. I have also recently, since that very new feature has been released for facilities and online reservations to restrict by memberships, I have started to also see an increase of memberships being used as a filter for coaches so that they can create a coaches membership. So only coaches can reserve um, their fields during certain dates and times during, peak baseball and softball months. Um, so there's that too. So there's a lot of functionality that goes into.
Awesome. Thanks, Jen. Did anyone else have any questions about that, or are we good to go take a look at check-ins? If anyone thinks of any questions, feel free to again pop them into the chat, and we will definitely address them in a little bit.
Yep. So now I just want to touch on the check-in piece of the system. You can get there a couple of ways. The fastest way is just to click this go to check-in button over on the right-hand side. Please remember that if you have a kiosk or employees whose only job is to say that there are people, this is the person coming into the building, maybe for whatever reason, that you can use that user role of check-in attendant. When you create them as a user, they would only have access to the attended check-in screen or the self check-in screen. And we'll kind of go over both so you can see what both offer. The attended lets you choose what facility you're at. If you're going to choose what programs they're there for. So if you need to use the whole restricting the pool by a certain date and time type of example, you can enable this so that it would be for selected facilities. So that way it's just the things happening at the pool. Now, because I am on a demo site, I am going to do all. I never know what I'm going to get. And the same thing, I'm going to leave the same filter for this program period. You can filter to just what is running today. You can also filter and make sure that they have to have that membership in order to check in. You can also undo these defaults, and I'll show you what the default looks like in just a moment. And you can have somebody either scan in or check in by their last name. Now that default basically automatically checks what memberships I belong to. Some groups that are using a combination of punch passes and memberships have found they like having them unchecked just so that their staff doesn't need to go like that and say they're not using the punch pass right now. And for those of you who are using programs to restrict who can come on certain days and time periods, make sure you set up drop-in support on your program to yes, pre-registration required. It'll look like this if they show up and they didn't sign up for that day and time. So they get sent home, or if you have a wait list, or if you can't allow them, obviously you can make exceptions. But if you don't see them here, just know that they did not sign up for that program. You should be able to see the word check-in if you're going to put them in. Now, if you're collecting money as they're checking in, you can also create the fees here for how much you're going to collect, and it'll not only check me in, but see now it says proceed to invoice. I can then create it and I can pay it. And this system will track the number of people who have checked in for the day or the last hour on a nice, easy visual screen when you're in this attended check-in area. And you can click here to quickly get to the facility check-ins if you need to run a report. Now I'm going to show you the self check-in before I show you the report. I'm just going to show you how to set it up. This will only check people into memberships. It is not going to allow you to check them into into a program or say they're there for this reason. This is simply a kiosk style check-in, so they could say that they're in the building. And I'm glad that message popped up. As you saw, it told me one of my memberships is getting ready to expire. So they'll also see that if you're using the self check-in. On the facility itself is one area that you're going to be able to pull check-in information. So on the facility, we've got facility check-ins, and you can export this information to Excel. You could do the same thing in the membership. Within your membership, there's a tab called Membership Check-ins, and you just export the information to Excel. There's another really cool report on the Reports tab called Facility Program Check-in Report. I'm going to pull a little bit more information than today, so it's a little bit more detailed. And this is going to show all of the check-ins. If they checked into a program, it'll have the names of all the participants, all the people who belong to a specific membership, the dates, the times. If there's funds, it'll even have the funds broken down here for you. So this is a nice and easy report to take a look at. There's another report on the Facilities tab I like to show off. It's
My
called
favorite
Facilities.
one, Jen.
What?
This is my favorite one.
This is Tom's favorite one. We truly feel people underutilize this, and I will let him talk it up as the system pulls the information. So look at this. You guys are going to be able to see on a nice simple screen all your locations. You can filter, of course. I'm just showing you everywhere, but you can see your location, the available days, hours, used information, as well as the number of check-ins and the number of reservations. Please keep in mind that see how it says available days and available hours? This is based off of the facility itself. So when you build the facility, this area right here for hours of operation, that is going to be where those dates and that's going to be where we calculate the days and time. All right. I think that just about covers everything.
Yes, we did have some questions come in.
Okay.
The first one came in directly to me, and it's from Carrie. It is going back into the memberships. So the question is, we should be able to set different fees based on income, with one being $0 down through the services for financial assistance. So basically, by creating multiple memberships based on the income level, that could drive the cost that someone would get within the program. So you could have anywhere from 50,000 to 90,000 as a membership level. You would get this pricing. At between 30 and 50,000, you would get this pricing on the programs. So that is something that you're able to do. There is that's going to take a lot of work to set it up and manage, and essentially before your participants can start signing up for programs, they have to first enroll themselves into that membership. One thing to keep in mind about that is that the membership will not be able to verify that that person is truly in that income level. That is something that is going to be an honor-based system. So on some level, you could just do that as a drop down in the program for different fee types. Did I get that right, Jen?
You did. That's what I was going to say. The only thing is I don't trust having people sign up online for stuff like this because you can't prove that they have
Yeah.
you can't prove they chose the right level. But you said that already, so that's pretty much the risk.
Then the follow-up question was, were we able to adjust the deposit amount based on the income? And the answer to that one is no. The deposit amount is for the entire program itself, and it doesn't have the ability to be adjusted for each fee type within the system. So Jen, if you were to go into that program or just pull up a program and we were to click on one and click on fees, that deposit amount is going to apply towards the entire program. So in order for us to be able to offer different deposit amounts, we'd have to create a program for each level. And then you would lose your ability to have max capacities because it'd just be too many variables. It'd also be not the greatest experience to offer that online in that case, because we're going to basically triple or quadruple your program list, which would make it a little bit harder for your users to find a program based on their income level. So that was a really good question. That is something that you are able to set up within the memberships. And if you have any questions about that, we will kind of cover how you can reach out to support or your customer success manager very soon.
While you guys think about some questions, I want to show you some things that I've seen customers do, some changes to their sites that you can discuss with us if you'd like to make any of these types of changes. Some of them are as simple as asking us to add additional buttons on the home page that you currently use. Now, these are categories that they placed, that this particular customer put in. So they have tennis memberships. So if somebody clicks on tennis memberships, it takes them to those tennis memberships. If they want to reserve a tennis court, they just click on the word tennis court and it filters to their tennis court facility types. We can do this type of stuff to your system to make it easier for your community to be able to know where to sign up and what to sign up for online. Some of our customers have also taken to just asking us to put the calendar on the home page because this allowed people to be able to go online. If your calendar is filled with your programs, because your reservations are really private reservations, they're not showing on that home calendar. Some of my customers have converted their landing homepage, meaning when customers go to their community site, it shows the calendar first. That way they can just pick right from the calendar the program name on the right day, on the right time. They can use the pre-cart by selecting it here and putting it into a pre-cart feature that allows you to do things like put multiple programs in the same cart, so a couple of different swim days. And when they go to add it to the cart, they can select all for the family members that are attending and not put in the family member that cannot go. And they can continue the checkout experience.
That looks great. Thank you, Jen. If you were to go back to Strawberry Recreation, would you be able to go back to that page for a second?
Yep.
Now, you were talking about those buttons at the bottom. Know that those buttons can also be, instead, if some of you might not have the buttons, we can also create those tabs up at the top. So if she clicks on tennis and clicks on tennis courts, she'll be able to see all of the tennis court sessions that they're able to reserve. Or if they click on tennis and they want to sign up for that membership to be part of that club, you can click on tennis and we are able to create those drop downs for you to help with those navigations. Since you might be offering session-based programs this summer, this is going to help your community find those resources easier. So wonderful. I didn't see any other questions come in. Jen, would you be able to go back into the director page for us, and could we show them the support center?
Of course. So on the director screen, we can click on the support center here.
Awesome. So down at the very bottom, this is where we're going to be posting the recording for this training early next week. So it's going to be underneath the PowerUp and RecDesk, and that'll take you out to our YouTube channel. If you scroll a little bit farther down, you'll also see how you can get connected with us as well.
Oh, sorry, hang on, scrolling down.
No worries. I thought we lost you there for a second.
No.
So you'll see our phone number there. I'm also dropping into the chat right now if you have any questions for us. If you're currently onboarding and in training right now, please reach out to your customer success manager. Otherwise, if you've already gone live, please make sure that you're reaching out through the support center, either with that support email that I just threw into the chat for everybody, clicking on the submit support request right here, and be sure to include any attachments or screenshots to help if you have any questions, or you can always give us a call. We did send out an email earlier last week talking about our new support. And it really is just a way to help us make sure that we are getting you the responses in a quick and timely manner. So the idea is that once you go live, you're always going to get the same level of support, but you might get a faster response time because we're all monitoring this phone number and we're all checking these emails. And then that way, we just make sure that we're getting the answers quickly. It's also going to help us be able to track what kind of questions do you have when you go live. So if we hear a lot of people reaching out about facility questions, we know that we either need to create more help guides to help you learn facilities or manage it, or that's going to help us either realize, hey, we need to have more videos, or we need to enhance the facility module to help make sure that you're having a good experience with it. So it's just going to be able to help us track and make sure that you are getting the most out of RecDesk. Otherwise, if you go back into the director page, Jen, there's a resource center. Could you show them the resource center?
Yep.
All right, so we are also going to be posting the recording underneath PowerUps for early next week. It's going to be around Monday when Jen and I can get that video up and running. So we'll definitely put another PowerUp on the screen, or user pilot is when that pop-up that comes up. So you'll see that come up there too. Thank you, Jen.
You're welcome. Sorry about that. I had muted myself because I sneezed for a moment. 'Tis spring.
No worries. So I didn't see any questions. Did anyone else have anything else that they would like to ask us today? All right. Well, we're about at the end of the hour. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to help. Otherwise, it was great to have you all here on the call today. And we'll be looking forward to chatting with you really soon.
Yes, thank you so much. Have a great day.